For a few years in the 1970s, the Mr. Asia Syndicate made millions.
Heroin creates its own market. It acts like a form of plague.
Until jealousy, betrayal and murder brought it all crashing down.
Then he just pulled out a gun, shot her in the back of the head, and then said to Wayne, "You're going to help me bury her."
This is Mr. Asia, A Forgotten History. All episodes now available on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
Yeah, hello, mate.
Hello, Piney. Have you got pre-match nerves because it's such a big day?
Yeah, but jittery. Yeah, but jittery. Although, I mean, I guess the players. I'd be interested to know what you think about this. How will the players be feeling for Auckland FC, because they don't have to do anything today and they still get the plate at the end of it?
I know, it is strange. They'll have to fire up somehow and play because they won't want to lose and lift the plate. So I know that at least that'll be. They need to put on a show. I think there'll be a festival atmosphere anyway because, you know, even despite the rain, the fans will be out, the port will be packed. There'll be an incredible atmosphere there at Mount Smart. But, yeah, it is a strange one. They are the Premier's Plate winners. And I looked at actually what happens next, and it doesn't help them that much, really, because they have to play a two-leg semi-final. Presumably they get the second leg at home. Is that right, Piney?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Nick Becker was on the show earlier. He said that will be on Saturday the 24th of May. So so they've got another regular season game next weekend, then they get a week off, and then home and away first. So, yeah, they get the second leg at home. And then I guess the big prize for finishing top is that if you make the grand final, you host the grand final.
That's the one. So, I mean, there's the rub. You need to actually get through this minefield of a two-leg semi-final. I think that's really tricky for Auckland FC. But at the same time, they've built their whole season on defence, right? So they've conceded the least amount of goals, 23 goals. Only Melbourne City with 24 goals conceded came close. So they are built around this wall, and of course, you know, Hiroki Sakai, their heroic captain, is the one who's kind of led them, and that's been probably one of the best signings in A-League history.
Yeah, just absolutely brilliant. And just on the two-legged thing, I mean, you know, Wellington Phoenix was second last year, so they missed the first round of the playoffs, and they had the home and away. They couldn't negotiate it. They couldn't make it through to the grand final, so not that they would have hosted it because they were second, but the fact remains it's not a fait accompli that you can get through. Two 90-minute games. And as it was last year, there was extra time as well. So it's a lot of football before you get to the grand final.
It is, and that's the whole thing. I think, you know, you got to appreciate this win. I think Steve Corica said to me a couple of weeks ago, this is how most leagues around the world are measured, first past the post like this. The grand final, where you play for the toilet seat, is an oddity of the A-League and a few other places where they have, you know, they split the league in some European countries for the final series. But look, it's been a massive season for them, and I was just thinking for you, Piney, because you're such a big Liverpool fan, you've got quite a weekend on your hands, haven't you? Because they're pretty much going to win the Premier League, and actually there are similarities. Both teams have only lost two games each. So I was looking at the way they stack up statistically. I know there's more games in the EPL, but quite similar seasons. Yeah,
defence wins championships, as they often say. And yeah, if you're not conceding, you're not losing. And you're right, Liverpool haven't lost many games. Yeah, not as civilised a time. 5 o'clock this afternoon, great time for a game of football. 3:30 tomorrow morning, not quite so much.
Yeah, you'll be up though, Piney.
I will be up. I'll be up having a look at it. Hey, can we talk some Super Rugby? Do you think the Blues are going to make the six?
No. I feel bad for the Blues because they're actually better than what their season has shown. And yesterday, the Reds they're a pretty determined team. The Reds, Michael Liner's son, Tom Liner, having an absolute blinder at first five as well. That didn't help them. And then also the TMO getting involved pretty much every time they crossed the line. The TMO was in there, and of course having that television match official. I guess slow your flow is really tough, and of course compounded by a red card to their arguably their biggest attack weapon, Mark Talia, who got done for a spear tackle. So It's not great for the Blues, but meanwhile for the Hurricanes, let's look on the positives there. Their season looked done and dusted there for a while. But with that win against the Brumbies, that was pretty amazing stuff last night, Piney. You would have loved that.
I did, and I was just talking about Billy Proctor before and how much of a difference he made. It's interesting when you talk about a guy coming back into a team and making a difference, and you often think about a raw-boned loose forward, or maybe your captain who's a lock, or maybe your hooker. You don't often think of your centre coming back and making such a big difference, but he was terrific last night, Billy Proctor.
Yeah, he was exceptional. I really do like the way that Hurricanes forwards went about their business as well. I think there was a 15 or 5 minute period where they silenced the Aussie commentators, which is no mean feat. You know how biased they're getting. Is it Justin Harrison? Justin Harrison with his very, very pro-Brumbies commentary. But the thing is, when the Hurricanes showed their attack, it was really slick, forwards and backs. And he said that's the best rugby he's seen played this Super Rugby season, bar none. So the Hurricanes have got it in them. Billy Proctor, however, we need to talk about that, yes, as a centre. I think he's eclipsing Rieko Ioane at the moment. I think at age 25, he's at the peak of his powers. He's showing what he can do. The combo with Riley Higgins is what I guess everybody's wanted to see, all rugby fans, but especially Hurricanes fans. And to be honest, now that Ruben Love has settled into that number 10, would you even move him when Harry Godfrey comes back? I think not.
Yeah, it's so interesting, and the bit about Billy Proctor and what he could become. You don't want to pump a guy's tires up too much, but he's actually been around for a while. Billy Proctor. They liked him as a teenager, and he had to sort of live in the shadow of his brother Matt for a while, but he's in there now, and look, I think he's making a great fist of things. So good to have him back from that Achilles injury. Hey, can we finish with the Anzac anthem at the AFL? Did you happen to catch this over the weekend?
I did. It was impressive. This is Private Hetty Adams from the New Zealand Army Band. Her anthem, her rendition of God Defend New Zealand was so good that it had all the commentators in raptures saying, Pipes of an Angel, the greatest rendition of a national anthem I've ever heard. The Aussies were loving it. They were saying that our anthem slaps, Piney, which is very rare and exalted praise for a national anthem, which is much maligned. But she made it her own, as they say in American Idol. She was not pitchy at all, but she was on the pitch, and fantastic rendition. Māori and English verse there at the MCG. We probably don't have time for both verses, but I think we should go out with Hetty Adams singing God Defend New Zealand. She made the crowd go wild.
God of nations at thy feet, in the bonds of love we meet. Hear our voices, we entreat. God defend our free land.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.